Everyone, and welcome to Mrs. Pam Reads. I can tell you just briefly that I have another YouTube channel, Read Aloud for Children. That would be Miss Pam Reads. So if you have kids, there's over 350 stories on that channel. So go check it out. All right, today for Mrs. Pam Reads, we are continuing in our story, Zoop, by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge. We are in book 3, beginning in chapter 44. In our last video, everybody got arrested. Yeah, Oz decided to, they were denied access to the Senate hearings, and he decided to hang from or climb up on some statue and just start telling everybody in attendance, hoping to get some video news coverage, which unfortunately he didn't. But he and Chloe and some of their supporters ended up in jail. So that, oh, and he had a broken nose too. Yeah. All right. So that's where we're at. Chapter 44. With a bandage X taped across my face and bloody cotton balls peeking rakishly from my nostrils, I left the hospital with Chloe and caught a cab back to the hotel. We showered, packed, checked out, and went to Union Station to catch the next New York-bound Attilla train. New criminal record or not, I needed to return to the Big Apple to regroup and try like hell to broadcast my lion footage to the world. Get it on the internet, see if I could get it on the network news. As we were settling into our seats, I tried calling Natalie. Again, the phone went straight to voicemail, and I hung up. I'd left her a message almost 48 hours before. What the hell? Was she icing me out? Half an hour later, I was coming back, from the snack car with a beer and a half bottle of wine. Chloe was shuffling a deck of cards on the tray table in front of her. Go fish, I said. These aren't playing cards, Chloe said. Oh, these are tarot cards. Tarot cards, I said, giving her a quizzical look. What scientist carries tarot cards? Chloe shrugged. I think they are very beautiful, she said. They belonged to my mother. I found them in a box of her things after she died. It's my, how do you say it? Good luck charm. It's superstitious, I know. She slipped them back in her box and reached beneath her seat for her purse. Let me see those, I said, putting a hand on hers. Do you know how to do whatever it is you do with tarot cards? We can do a reading, she said, sliding the cards back out of the box. You shuffle the cards and then lay out 10 of them in what is called the Celtic cross. The best kind of reading is the question reading. First, you write down a question, then deal out the cards to find the answer. The 10th card in the sequence will give you the answer. I uncapped a pen and scribbled out on an Amtrak cocktail napkin, will HAC destroy the world? I handed her the napkin, but she waved it off. Don't show it to me yet. Just turn it over and shuffle. So I folded it and put it down. I shuffled the cards and carefully slipped them off the top of the deck one by one, laying them down on the tray table in the places where she pointed. The formation complete, Chloe began turning the cards over. The first one showed an old man in a cloak holding a staff and a lantern. That's the hermit, she said. It represents, how do you say, introspection, searching. Chloe's voice had a slight note of seriousness in it. How did a scientist become a closet mystic? I was intrigued. It made me think of Isaac Newton. doing experiments in his spare time, trying to turn lead into gold when he wasn't busy laying down the foundation of classical physics. She turned over the other cards. One card was called the Tower, another the Lovers, which I liked the sound of that. Now, this is the one that will answer the question, Chloe said as I arrived at the 10th card. She flipped it over. Outside, the eastern seaboard clattered by in swaths. I'm thinking, wow, they're not going to tell us. The eastern seaboard clattered by in swaths of gray and brown. Snatches of the ocean sparkled weakly in the failing afternoon light. I looked at the card. It looked like a picture of an angel with bird-like wings. Feathers and red and yellow triangles splayed out from the cloud he was sitting in, and the angel seemed to be blowing through some sort of straw. What is it? The angel, I said. Chloe bit her lip as she kept staring at the card. This card is the Judgment. She pointed at the angel. This is the angel Gabriel blowing his horn. She pointed at the red and yellow triangles. This is fire. I didn't need a crystal ball to know what that meant. I showed her my question. Dun, dun, dun. Chloe playfully hummed ominous movie music. She smiled, laughed, and scooped up the cards. But as she did, I saw that her hands were shaking slightly. We sat in silence as the train blasted like a switch across the miserable ass of Delaware, gazing out at the blur of tract housing and strip malls. For some reason, I started thinking about the book, The Little Red Caboose, which my mom used to read to me when I was a kid. How wonderful the illustrations had made the world seem. Shiny cars and friendly policemen as the train went through the city. Apple-cheeked farmers driving corn-filled pickups in the country. Painted Indians on horseback as the train chugged up the mountain. I remembered looking at the pictures for hours, at the world that was waiting for me. Happy, colorful, safe. As we went into a tunnel, I closed my eyes and saw the card again. The Judgment. What kind of storybooks would I be reading to my children? I wondered. Chapter 45. It was about 9 at night when we emerged from Penn Station onto a bustling expanse of 8th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. The dark moon that had gripped me after the tarot reading hadn't let go. The city was wet. The clouds had broken into rain during our journey, and now the weather alternated between drizzle and bursts of harder rain. We stood on the curb, burdened with our luggage, without umbrellas, getting wet. Steam rose from the streets, and the headlights of the cars were mirrored in the shimmering asphalt. We flagged down a cab. I opened the door for Chloe and dumped our bags in the trunk. I got in and told the driver my address. On the seat beside me, Chloe was gaping through the window at the looming Empire State Building. It was lit up in tiers of white and blue. I have not been in New York City in a long time, she said. The rain gathered new momentum and drummed on the roof of the car like flung handfuls of gravel. Chloe was quiet. She snuggled into the crook of my arm, and I listened to the rhythmic rubber-on-glass squeals of the windshield wipers. The city lights blasted past us, twinkling like hazy underwater jewels in the dark. It's leaving, isn't it? She said quietly in my chest. What's leaving? What are you talking about? She said, sorry, the wind is really blowing hard. All right, she sat up a little. Her eyes were moist. I'm afraid that Claire Duggard is right, she said. The world is ending. Everything that everyone has worked so hard for, our parents, their parents, It's all going away, and no one is going to do anything about it. It's just so sad. You can't think like that, I said, softly squeezing her shoulders. This is crazy, I know, but we can solve it. We're going to figure it out. I don't know what to think anymore. We dreamed the same dream. That's impossible. And then seeing that tarot card on the train, it's silly, I know, but it scared me to death. I feel strange. I feel very strange. I didn't know what to say, so I just held her as she dissolved into real, racking sobs. We'd been through a lot lately. I hoped it was the jet lag. I thought that the grandmotherly Alice Boyd had said about the eerie, seemingly precognitive animal behavior right before disasters. I thought about the elephants and the birds heading for the hills before the tsunami. What was the term Alice had used? A cosmic event? After a moment, I looked down at Chloe and she reached for my face. A hand on each cheek, she kissed me deeply. Her face melted into mine. She kissed me, and I kissed back. I kissed back. Chapter 46. Yellow. A yellow car this is from Attila's point of view, I think. A yellow car stops downstairs in front of the building. Attila arrives at a thumping run at the front window of the apartment, gazes down at the street below. He loses like let's go, a wild, piercing shriek as the cab door opens and he sees Oz. He hops up and down, howling in excitement. He stops and is quiet. His dark, glistening brown eyes glide downward to see something else. Oz is reaching into the cab. Now another person emerges from the yellow thing. Even from 5 floors up, Attila can see it is a female, a woman. Attila's face drops. He begins to whimper. The black tips of his long, feathery fingers press against the glass. He blows from his nostrils in soft, sorrowful puffs as he stares down at his friend and the newcomer. His sadness sours into a feeling of betrayal, of jealousy. The yawning gulf in his chest becomes filled with a new feeling. It pours in like floodwater, hot, ugly rage. Rage gushes up inside him like an urge to vomit. Attila leaps up, pounding at his chest. Growling, gurgling noises erupt from his throat as he begins to tear back and forth through the ruins of the apartment, smashing and tearing everything in his path. He smashes and tears things not yet smashed and torn, and further smashes and tears things that have already been smashed and torn. Today is a day for biting and smashing. He begins pounding on the walls again, knocking down a few remaining pictures. Their frames clatter and crash. More glass scatters across the floor. He grabs the radiator in the hallway, begins to shake it. He winces as he pulls and pulls. The pipe that connects it to the wall whines. There is a shriek and a groan as he rips it free of its moorings. Attila hurls the radiator into the bathroom, the door to which he wrenched off its hinges a few days ago. The radiator bashes the bathroom sink and shatters it. The sink crumbles into chunks of porcelain rubble. Attila knuckle walks to the front door. He sniffs. He hears Oz coming up the stairs now, with another pair of feet walking in tandem beside or behind him. He has an idea. Quickly, deliberately, he runs through the apartment, clicking off all the lights. The apartment is dark, except for the orange glow of lights outside filtering through the windows. The torn blinds cast orange tiger stripes of light across the room. A train rumbles by outside and sets the room to shaking. Attila listens to the approach ascending footsteps. He yawns with his enormous jaws. He waits. And we're going to stop there. This is going to be interesting because apparently he's just been loose that whole time and destroying the apartment when he gets angry. Not good. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining me for Mrs. Pam Reads. There we go. I hope you have a wonderful day and that you don't return home from wherever you are to a destroyed apartment. Remember to subscribe to the channel. When you click the bell button, you'll get an update every time a new story posts. Have a great day, and I will see you next time. Bye.